Hi. I'm actually recording this when I should be going to my place of employment. However, this lobby world closes while I'm at the office, and I want to film here because I am stubborn. So we just gotta do some blitzing type shit, okay? We gotta get in and out real quick. For those uninitiated or not infected with my degeneracy yet, Furality is a VR convention. It takes place in VR chat, and the scale of it cannot be overstated. There are events, there are meetups, there are DJs, there is a giant-ass dealer's den that was way too big for its own good. Holy shit. Pretty much every single video, whether I'm covering a real-life convention or Furality specifically, I always make one point, and it's that I never go to meetups. Why? I don't know how. Every time I try, I just kind of sit there awkwardly for 5 minutes and leave. I think I can point to one time that I had a successful meetup happen where I made a friend, and that was in Furality Umbra, which was 2 years ago. That's why I'm making this video with a specific goal in mind. 3 meetups per day, 12 meetups total. I have to get proof that I was at every single one with the help of a person that I met at the meetup. Is it gonna be awkward as shit? Yes. There's no follow-up to that. It's gonna be awkward. So that's exactly what I set out to do on Thursday. I went to the Retro Enthusiast meetup where we barely talked about being retro enthusiasts, and also I got recognized in like the first 5 minutes. I know I occupy like a very kind of specific niche of VR shit, but that was still surprising. Luckily as well, the quick join functionality on the website heard my prayers and dropped me into an instance with people who I already knew to some extent, so I figured it'd make for a good practice run. I obviously didn't record a lot of these meetups because obviously, if people stream or record meetups, like that's fine, I guess. But me personally, I don't like recording people without getting like very explicit consent. So that's why the meetup section is a bit sparse, other than these bits. So I want to get like concrete proof that I was at a meetup. So can you look at the camera and just let them know I was here?
Cam was here.
I was here.
He's in the meetup.
1 out of 12. So with 1 out of 12 meetups done, I decided to go to the Unity lighting panel, which is where I learned that I'm way in over my depth. And I was learning quite a bit from the event when the speaker wasn't getting Thanos snapped.
Wasn't on my to-do list.
Oh, there it goes. Next up was, quote, Polaris screaming and tickling a piano. There was plenty of tickling and it sounded great. However, there was not a lot of screaming. I would give it like a 9 out of 10. Between this and the Unity lighting though, the event stage looked absolutely awesome. It had a lot of depth to it. The only problem is that if you're sitting in like the rafters at the very top, you just can't see the person announcing shit. It was also there where I met some other new people, and I wish that this was technically a meetup because I would have loved for that to count it. Opening ceremonies, I have one note here, and it says, went about as smoothly as sandpaper on your taint. So that should tell you how. The connection kept dropping. The mascot wasn't there because he was at a meetup. It was a lot, but we learned some shit though. We got to meet the charity this year, which was Resilient Hearts Animal Sanctuary. We had already raised like $32,000, and that number was only going to go up. Spoiler alert, don't skip ahead, I'll fucking kill you. After the opening ceremonies, I decided to go to one of the community meetups. Furality got a little bit of flack this year for having a bunch of meetups that didn't quite align with what people wanted to see, so in response, they opened some community meetups that were open for 24 hours based on user suggestions. The problem with it being open 24 hours is that it's a huge window for possibly niche groups, which means that when I joined, there was no one there. So if I wanted to reach my 2 out of 12, I would have to go somewhere else. And that somewhere else was a game world, because yeah, Furality also has a bunch of instances where you can play VR chat games with under attendees, such as that fishing game, Among Us. Those are the only 2 games that exist. I went to Probability Labs, played a few games with people, and right before I died, I managed to coerce someone into doing my bidding. Hey yo, before the drill hits our plate, can you just look in the camera and say that Camp was here?
Camp was here.
Fuck yeah. All right, time to die. Next was the Owning Your Physical Music Collection panel, which was essentially going in depth as to how if you have a CD collection, how you can digitize it in the best quality possible. I'm not a CD boy though, I'm a vinyl boy, but it's still good shit to know. And then the last meetup of the day, where I didn't do what I wanted. It was 1 a.m. at that point, and I hadn't aligned myself to a dog shit sleep schedule yet. I wasn't able to do anything other than exist, essentially. However, I signed up for another meetup on Saturday. I'm not giving up this fucking easily. We're at 2 out of 12 meetups. I got 10 more to do in 3 days. Let's go, let's keep going. Friday, the full body tracking meetup. I initially had the idea to go either on desktop or just without my legs, but then I had an even better idea. You know, technically my arms and legs are mounted to the copter, so it is still a full body being tracked. All the people there were very chill though. I immediately got helped into a group and shit, and they were all very nice. I also got choked out by someone. It was great. Oh, oh wait, are we fighting? Hold on. Oh. Whoa! I mean, dinner first, fuck. Same for the streamer meetup. I actually met a couple not safe for work streamers, and it was really cool to hear their process and just how creative those motherfuckers can get. The only problem with these 2 meetups is for some reason VR chat wasn't recording audio. So I have faithfully recreated my encounters with them here. Can you look in the camera and say that Camp was here?
I'm with the science team.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Camp, what? Damn right I was here. 412 meetups now, which means it's time for a break and we can check out the club this year. It's kind of early to tell, but I think this could be my favorite club world that Furality has done. The screen setup was so versatile. You could put anything you wanted up there, be it squares or circles, 3D objects, and the lighting and the drones and shit were also very cool every single fucking year. I don't know how the fuck they do it. Kadashi, the drum and bass set was great. The Marge JoJo Goku Fusion Dancer gave me a Blade Runner 2049 moment. It was cool. DJ K9 with Progressive House and Clavix with Psytrance, which I was way too stoned for. Deratomic was also great. They both began and opened with a Sleep Token mashup, so I'm automatically obligated to love them. And then there was an unexpected guest. Oh? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, he's shooting lasers out of his tits. Hold on. Let's fucking go. Laser tits. I got the gender wrong, actually. That is a woman. Her name is Jill, and I love her. And then the last set of the night I was at was the progressive metal one, which, much like the metal set last year, was so good in ways that I don't traditionally expect. Shit pog AF as fuck. After that though, it was time to do a catch up for my meetups because I missed one on account of being stoned. I went to another game world, this time the geolocator, which is this legally distinct GeoGuessr. I proved my geography prowess and how amazing it is. Where am I on the leaderboard?
Okay,
oh, I'm not. Okay. And just like every other meetup so far, I managed to get one of the people to look in the camera and say that I was there. So all I gotta do is look in the camera and to say that Camp was here.
The Camp was here.
Yeah! 5 out of 12, motherfucker. Let's go. I got this shit in the bag. Now, if you watched my video on Furality Umbra 2 years ago, you know that shit getting delayed is just part of the Furality experience. And this was no exception. The lobby was supposed to open after the closing ceremonies, but it got pushed about 24-ish hours. And why it was pushed became very apparent when it opened. We joined one of the lobby instances and it ran ungodly horribly. I forgot to turn my desktop mic on in this clip, but I'm just shouting at Dave, one of my friends, being like, Dave, I'm here, can you hear me? We gotta break out, It was essentially unusable, but we did hear through the grapevine that if you go to an instance of a lower capacity, it runs a lot better. And for some reason, that worked. It wasn't perfect, it still froze a few times, but at least we were able to walk around at a normal speed. John Furality issued an apology though and explained that apparently this just never came up in testing. A bunch of different errors and shit were popping up pretty much as soon as they were set to upload the world live, and it resulted in just one dude having to essentially rebuild the world on their PC from scratch. Which, if that's true, that fucking sucks. And it's also believable because Unity sucks. There were also games that didn't work. Where are we shooting? Where are we dropping, boys? I'm going to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
What are we supposed to be broadcasting?
I don't know. I shot a yellow circle that I found and it went away, but I don't know where the next one is. Yeah, I have no clue what we're doing. I don't know. That space one I don't think ever got fixed while Furality was running, but the pastry picnic thing one did. I didn't get any footage of that, but you essentially run around this room finding all the cakes and shit, and then once you do, you get an achievement for it. You also get achievements for visiting the art gallery and staring at art for an uncomfortably long amount of time. In the dealer's den as well, you get points for spending a lot of time in a booth for trying on different avatars or X, Y, and Z. I just realized I never brought up the dealer's den. Whoops. It is huge this year, dude. It's too huge. I'm gonna say it. Having a dealer's den this big combined with the achievement aspect is so funny because Monday night I just started dodging in and out of booths to say I visited them all. I don't even feel bad about it. I'm assuming the dealer's den is gonna go away when the convention is over. I wouldn't be able to have checked them out or given them the time they deserve anyway. I was talking about that with a friend actually. I feel like it would make more sense going forward if the dealer's den had its like public preview thing after the convention already happened. Anyway, time marches on with a regard for our feelings. Saturday, I went to the lobby first thing in the morning. Thankfully, I can say they upgraded the fuck out of it overnight. It was all very smooth. There was no lag whatsoever, even if I was in VR. I also got a few beauty shots, including this one of Max, who I think I would kill a man for if he asked me. I was only there for a little bit though, because shut the fuck. I was only in the lobby for a short time though, because at 11 a.m. I had to embody your unemployed friend on a Wednesday and get stoned while at a rave matinee. I saw Ransomware that did some Neurofunk DMB type shit, which blew my fucking head off. It was a collaborative set between two people, one of whom was Subnoxious, who I saw at Somna, who I loved. The screen was so big, I had trouble fitting all of it into the camera. This is going to be a recurring theme. Next, we had Strawberry Potato, who the genre was just listed as psychedelic vibes. I didn't know what that meant, but after I started watching the visuals, Yeah, but it was during this set that I decided to check out one of the upper areas, and it gave a really nice view of the club, and I know what it looks like. There were people there, okay? I wasn't just alone. The voices in my head told me there were people there, and they have no reason to lie to me. I was already thinking this kind of had an Adult Swim bumper kind of vibe, but I mean, look at, isn't this literally just like that one city that I forget the name of? You know what I mean. So after that is when I took my Furality mandated nap, and I woke up just in time for the Winter Paw meetup. For those of you who don't know, this avatar base is called the Winter Paw Canine. It is essentially the second most popular furry base on this goddamn game. It was entirely unofficial. The creator of the avatar organized it herself, and it was pretty cool to meet other people sharing my skin. Met up with a couple friends who have a similar avatar, and I even found someone new to do the Camp Was Here bit for me. To say Camp Was Here. I need proof.
Camp was here.
I was here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yippee. 6 out of 10. We are halfway through this shit, motherfucker. Let's go. After the Winter Paw meetup, I went to the photographer meetup, which is directly after. It was actually really cool. In VR chat, you're able to make prints, which are essentially you can take a photo in VR chat and then print it out, and you can have it just physically in the world for other people to look at and save. However, you're also able to upload stuff to your gallery and then make prints of that, which is what we did of our photographs. We showed them off to each other, we made a little wall, and we took a sappy photo, and none of that shit fucking matters, because you know what else I did? I just need you to look at the camera and say that Camp Was Here.
The camera's here. Is that what?
Well, no, Camp, my name was here.
Oh, that you were here? Okay,
Yes.
I can do that.
Yes, you can do it whenever.
You can absolutely throw that photo.
Just however you want me to.
You, just the 3 words, however you want to say it.
Camp was here.
Oh yeah, you put in good work. Thank you, my dude. After 2 meetups, I recharged my social battery at a club event, and then I went to the content creator meetup, which for some reason was overlapped with the community showcase. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but I met a couple new friends there, ones that I also kept running into when I was going to different places. It was very nice. Just look in the camera and say, Camp Was Here. That's me.
Camp was here.
I was here.
Really here.
Yeah.
He was here 100%.
Then I went to the domestic dogs meetup, which ironically was the most awkward I felt. Regardless though, I powered through, and I managed to get Scooby-Doo to acknowledge that I exist. Scooby, before you change, can you look in the camera and just say that Camp was here?
Oh, God.
You just gotta say Camp was here.
Real dog.
It is 3 words, I believe in you.
Camp was here.
Camp was so fucking here, let's go. Right after this though, I went directly to the community showcase. I missed the first 45-ish minutes, but it was a whole 2-hour thing this year, so that's fine. Now I will say, this year, hi community showcase team, good job on not saving all the sad shit till the end. Because the entire thing was sad. I join in, and the first full thing I see is a fucking suicide awareness ad. What? Don't get me wrong, everything was amazing. I loved it. People outdo themselves every fucking year and constantly raise the bar. But why do you have to make me cry? Everything I saw was great though. I would have submitted something myself, but life is hard. So we went to the club a little bit more, and then we continued checking out the dealer's den and the lobby a bit. Me and Dave both got more shit-faced than we probably should have, and I got one clip that was recorded at like 3 a.m.
If grass doesn't exist, how is my eyes on the looking at it?
For YouTube community guidelines sake, I live in Canada, so weed is completely legal here, and I also cannot encourage you to smoke weed. So I will tell you that Sunday, I woke up with a bit of a hangover. Weed hangovers are apparently a thing. I didn't even know this. And as a consequence, I woke up at like noon, so I missed the fucking DJ set I wanted to go to. Now, as a reminder, it is Sunday, and I have been to 9 of the 12 meetups, which means we are in line to get the 12 total. The first one was the videography meetup, where, much like other meetups I found, you barely talk about videography. I was a little surprised by that, but one of them did bring up the point that meetups are about meeting people with shared similar interests. You don't have to necessarily make the entire meetup the focus of the conversation. On 3, just go like Camp Was Here, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Camp was here.
Let's go. I have proof that can be legally used as evidence in court. I was gonna go to the Gray Muzzle meetup yet, but I'm still in my 20s technically. I'm not quite unk status. So we had a look at the community meetups with Finks now that he was here. I don't know if I really qualify as a Gray Muzzle in the big aspect of, oh, there's Trains and Railway Enthusiast meetup in the community tab.
What?
Oh shit, that's popping off. Yeah, you want to go? Oh, there's an instance of like 38 people. That's the biggest community meetup I've ever seen. All right, let's go.
I'm surprised.
Let's go, baby. The train one was really cool. It was similar. We shared photos of trains that we took, except for me. I'm not a train nerd. I was just accompanying things. I met a lot of cool people though, multiple of whom were actually somewhat close to me geographically. I didn't realize I was around so many fucking nerds. I have never met this person before. What? Can you say Camp was here?
Camp was literally here at, wait, what meet are we
we on right now?
Train and something about trains community meetup.
Something about trains meetup. I definitely did not just join off of camp just for reasons.
Yo, what do you mean join that? Shh, we're not friends. We don't know each other. We don't know each other. We don't. But I had to dip after the hour mark because I had another event that I wanted to go to, which was the Pure Chaos show. Now, the dude's voice, Spiral, was really, really good. I enjoyed it. He can scream like a motherfucker. Shut the fuck up! The only problem is the vocals and the instrumental were slightly out of sync. It was like half a beat off consistently. I don't know what happened. I would assume that the vocals and instrumental would be coming out of the same broadcast source, but I guess maybe they were coming on different ones that were slightly behind each other. Once again, it also could have been me. I already said the video player does not like me existing. Like in the club world and in some of the dealers booths, I had to physically go into the menu and set everything to be lower so I could actually just listen to shit without it stuttering. I think that's a me problem though. I didn't see anyone else supporting this. I think my internet service provider just hates me. I still had a great time though. Everyone in the lobby was dancing and bopping their asses. It was good. The atmosphere was nice. And speaking of good atmosphere, it was time for the annual Furality Fireworks Show. Except it wasn't because it got delayed. Originally meant to start at 6 p.m. Sunday, it got moved to 8 p.m. Sunday. Sorry, I mean 10 p.m. Sunday. Apologies once again, I mean 10:15 p.m. Nope. It's midnight now. Hi, I'm John Furality. We fucking hate you. Well, the fireworks are moved to 10:15, whatever that means. So,
Yeah, so I'm gonna...
never mind. They open at midnight now. Oh my god, this fucking convention. At this point, I was getting a little bit worried because I had one more meetup to go to, which was after the closing ceremonies. And as it stood, the fireworks would end up being over top of that. So how the fuck am I supposed to do all this shit? Choosing not to think about it though, we decided to go to the closing ceremonies a little bit early so that we could all be grouped in together. And remember when I said earlier that there were $32,000 raised for charity? That went up a little bit. 98 grand just chilling on the screen while we were waiting for the closing ceremonies to start. If you recall last year, there was a similar situation where they announced the $97,000 total during the ceremonies, and then a few minutes later, it went past 100K. We had a similar energy this year, but this time, it was before the closing ceremonies even started.
What if they did 99967?
99967. Someone donate $41 right now. It'll be funny, you know it. Yo! 100K! So that was very cool, that was very exciting, and we got a very long chance to reflect on how cool it was because the closing ceremonies were delayed by like an hour. In Furality's defense though, there was also a small API outage happening at the moment. It wasn't nearly as bad as the crash of 25 last year, but it was still kind of throwing a wrench in people's plans getting places. While this was going on, the donation counter was still going up. Right before the closing ceremonies, it was over $102,000. However, this did not include the charity auction that happened just a couple hours prior.
Counting your individual donations plus the totals from the charity auction, we have raised over $114,000 for Resilient Hearts Animal Sanctuary.
Good God.
Yes!
Holy shit. $114,000. $114,000. 114. I am honored to say I contributed like $15 to that. Speaking of the charity, we have learned that the person at Resilient Hearts doing the communication between Furality and them is a full-fledged furry now, which is just really funny.
After this past weekend, Erin has said that she is absolutely, officially a furry.
We got another one. By the time I thought the closing ceremonies was over, it was 12:45, 45 minutes into the last meetup. Okay, there are 19 people in the Wolf meetup right now. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna go. I gotta meet my 12 out of 12 quota.
Bark at them for me.
Okay. There were still some people coming in because the closing ceremonies had just ended, but there were also a bunch of people already there who immediately welcomed me with open arms, and it was great. We talked for a while. It was a lot of fun, and when it was time for me to do the Camp Was Here, the person I was talking to actually pulled a bunch of their friends over, and all the ones that were okay with being on camera got around me, and we finally did it. So on the count of 3, I want everyone to shout Camp Was Here, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Camp was here.
Camp was here.
It works. It works. Thank you so much. Oh, that's 12 out of 12. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's. I don't know how to do an orange justice. By the end of the convention, I managed to go to 12 different meetups and get a person to be on camera to say that I was there at every single one. And to be honest, I wish I did more. I feel like giving myself a goal for the meetups helped a lot with it. It gave me something to point towards, which is something I always need if I'm going to be taking on a bigger project or a bigger ask. And as weird and formulaic as it sounds, I feel like that was the best way for me to do it. I'm not gonna act like it wasn't hard. There were times where it was awkward as shit and trying to find people who like kind of vibe with me in that sort of scenario. But more often than not, I could just go into a group that was there and just talk normally and interject when there's something that comes up, and it was good. It was a fun time. So I'm very glad I did this. Being able to do the meetups was a definite highlight of Furality. I always preach about the connection aspect when it comes to furry conventions, about how it's less about gathering around something like an anime or a sci-fi convention, and in here, it's wholly reliant on community. So it feels hypocritical whenever I make a video on Fernal Equinox or Furality to be like, oh, the connection here was super amazing and very cool, and the environment was so welcoming and loving, despite me refusing to talk to anyone at all ever. But this year I can say I did talk to people, quite a few people, and it was a lot of fun. If anyone from the meetups finds these videos, thank you so much for helping me stop thinking about myself so much. And after all that though, we could bask in our accomplishments and go to the fireworks show. For context, the whole gimmick of the convention this year was modeled after a theoretical console called the Ultravox Prism. It was very Y2K aesthetically coded. It was meant to be reminiscent of things like the Nintendo Wii. And the whole thing is that after 20 years, in 2026, the online services for the Ultravox Prism were shutting down. And the fireworks were a big reflection of this. In addition to the regular fireworks we've seen at Umbra and Somna, this time they just had straight up drones. These people are too powerful. The music was perfection. It looked absolutely beautiful. It encompassed the entire sky. And then the ending broke me. I couldn't tell you why, just something about the lights flying up to the surface, all the things spiraling around it, and then that file, thanks for playing, and then the disconnect symbol. Why do you want to rip my heart out? And I think it fucked me up a bit because it's essentially what's happening with the convention right now. As I record this, it is 9 a.m. Fuck, I gotta get to work. Whatever. And all the worlds, this one included, are going to be closing in 3 hours. The only real difference though is the fact that we still have each other. After the meetups, I still have all the new people I met. I also still have all the friends I currently have now, some of who I haven't seen in VR in a long ass time. No matter what the fuck that symbol says at the end of the fireworks show, we are still connected. And just because we lost the platform that we can do it on doesn't mean that it's gone forever. I spent this convention with my friends, I watched the fireworks with my friends, we were all together, we were all doing shit, and it was time for the convention to come to its natural ending. I think visiting 12 meetups actually somewhat rewired my brain, because after the fireworks, I went to another meetup for fun. It was very cool. I was listening to people talk about what they were gonna do, how much time they spent at the convention this year, and just kind of catching up and digesting everything. And I think just for that alone, being able to actually meet people and talk about their experiences, both with and without the convention, I think this might be my favorite convention yet. Yes, the library was broken, there were a few technical faults, but those are like synonymous with Furality at this point, you know? Like, this is all part of the package. You gotta expect shit to break. Thanks to the people I met at this convention, thanks to John Furality for making it happen, and thank you for watching. Normal videos will come back soon, I swear to God. I made a community post a little bit ago, but I was sick for like a straight month, and then on the tail end of getting better, I made that comments video, and then my headset broke. But whatever, it's fine, it worked out in the end. I'm late for work, I gotta go. Fuck yourself, see ya.
How's the meetups? How's the goals been going? Oh, it's great to hear.